The gun sat on the kitchen table between them, black, cold, loaded. 3 bullets in the chamber. Emma knew because she'd counted them herself just an hour ago, her hand shaking so badly she'd dropped one on the tile floor. It had rolled under the refrigerator. She'd left it there. Michael sat across from her, the man she'd married 7 years ago, the man who'd promised her forever on a beach in Mexico, waves crashing behind them, his voice breaking with emotion. That man was gone. This man, the one staring at her with eyes like empty windows, was someone else entirely, someone she'd been living with for months without realizing it, maybe longer. "Pick it up," he said quietly. His voice was calm, too calm, like he was asking her to pass the salt. Emma's throat closed. The kitchen light flickered. Thunder rolled somewhere far away, or maybe it was just her pulse in her ears. "Michael, please, we can talk about this. We can pick it up." Her hand moved before her brain could stop it, fingers wrapping around the grip, cold metal, heavier than she'd imagined. She'd never held a gun before tonight. Michael smiled. Not the smile from their wedding photos, not the smile from lazy Sunday mornings or surprise birthday cakes. This smile was something ancient, something that had been hiding behind his face the whole time, waiting. "Good," he whispered. "Now you understand." The sirens were getting closer. Emma could see red and blue lights starting to pulse through the rain-soaked window. And she realized, with a horror that tasted like copper in her mouth, that she had no idea whose side those sirens were coming for. What happened in the 7 years between "I do" and this moment?
Here's what the newspapers would eventually say. Quiet couple. Kept to themselves. No one saw it coming. That's what they always say, isn't it? After the truth explodes, after the police tape comes down, after everyone's interviewed and the neighbors are shaking their heads, saying, "They seemed so normal." But normal is just a mask, and some people wear it better than others. Michael Torres wore his mask perfectly. 34 years old, high school math teacher, coached Little League on weekends, brought donuts to faculty meetings, the kind of guy who remembered your kids' names and asked about your sick mother. Emma Torres, Emma Chen before the wedding, 32, pediatric nurse, volunteer at the animal shelter, made the best lasagna on the block. Together, they were the couple everyone wanted to be. The Instagram love story, the relationship goals comment section, the proof that good people still existed. But here's the thing about masks. They don't crack all at once. They slip. Little by little, a flash of something dark in the eyes, a tone that's a half note off, a story that doesn't quite match up. And if you're not paying attention, if you're too close, too in love, too invested, you miss it. Until you don't. This isn't a story about a monster. It's worse than that. This is a story about a man who understood exactly how to hide in plain sight, who knew that the best place to conceal darkness is behind kindness, who learned that people want to believe in goodness so badly, they'll ignore 100 red flags to protect that belief. And this is a story about a woman who loved him so completely, she convinced herself that what she was seeing couldn't be real. Until the night she found the photographs, the emails, the life insurance policy. Until the night she understood that forever meant something very different to the man sleeping beside her. The question isn't, how did it get to a gun on a kitchen table? The question is, how many chances did she have to run, and why didn't she?
Let's go back 7 years before the gun, before the lies stacked so high they blocked out the sun. Emma Chen was 25 years old when she met Michael, fresh out of nursing school, working night shifts at St. Mary's Children's Hospital, exhausted all the time, but happy, hopeful. She'd grown up in a small town outside Portland. Only child, parents owned the restaurant, Chen's Garden, best egg rolls in the county. They'd worked 16-hour days their entire lives, taught Emma that love meant sacrifice, that you worked through problems, that family was everything. Emma believed that, deeply. It was her blueprint for life. She'd had one serious boyfriend before Michael, college sweetheart, broke up when he took a job in Boston and she stayed in Portland. It had gutted her. She'd cried for weeks, sworn she'd never let someone leave her again. Remember that. It matters. Michael Torres was 27 years old when they met, already teaching at Lincoln High, popular with students and staff. Funny, smart, always knew the right thing to say. But Michael's childhood was different from Emma's. His father, Roberto, had been military, Marine, 3 tours overseas, came back with what they didn't call PTSD back then, just problems. Drank, yelled, threw things. Michael's mother, Sandra, stayed. For 18 years, she stayed. Made excuses, hid bruises, told 10-year-old Michael, "Your father loves us, he just has demons." Michael learned 2 things from watching his parents. 1, love means enduring. Love means staying no matter what. 2, rage, if packaged correctly, looks like passion. Anger, if dressed up right, looks like strength. When Michael was 17, his father wrapped his car around a tree, drunk, alone, dead before the ambulance arrived. At the funeral, Michael's mother whispered to him, "I should have left him years ago. I wasted my life." She died 6 months later. Heart attack. 52 years old. Michael was alone. He put himself through college, became a teacher because teachers had been the only safe adults in his childhood. Got therapy, learned the right words, boundaries, self-care, healthy communication. He seemed healed. But here's the truth about trauma. It doesn't disappear. It just waits. It hides in your selves, your reflexes, your nightmares. And sometimes it doesn't show up as obvious pain. Sometimes it shows up as control disguised as love. Emma and Michael met at a coffee shop. Literal coffee shop meet cute. She was studying for her nursing boards. He was grading papers. Their elbows bumped, coffee spilled, apologies, laughter. "Let me buy you another," he'd said. That smile, those warm brown eyes. They talked for 3 hours. She missed her study group, didn't care. He was different from anyone she'd met. Thoughtful, asked real questions. What's your biggest fear? What makes you feel most alive? If you could change one thing about your childhood, what would it be? She told him things she'd never told anyone. About feeling invisible sometimes, about wanting to matter, about the pressure of being the perfect daughter. He listened, really listened, like she was the only person in the world. By the time they left, she'd given him her number.
He texted 15 minutes later. "I know this sounds crazy, but I think I just met my wife." She laughed, screenshotted it, sent it to her best friend with a dozen heart emojis. 6 months later, they were engaged. Everyone said it was fast. Emma's parents were worried. "You barely know him," her mother said. But Emma was sure, completely sure, because Michael was everything she dreamed of. Attentive, romantic. He brought her flowers for no reason, cooked her dinner after long shifts, rubbed her feet while they watched TV. He introduced her to his friends. His co-workers loved her. She met his students. They called him Mr. T and said he was the best teacher they'd ever had. Red flags? There were a few. Small ones. Like the time Emma wanted to go out with her nursing school friends, and Michael got quiet. I miss you when you're gone," he'd said. Puppy dog eyes. "Can't they come here instead?" She'd canceled. Felt guilty for wanting time away. Or the time she'd mentioned a male doctor at work, Dr. Patel, 60 years old, grandfather of 5. And Michael asked, "Do you talk to him a lot?" Casual voice, but his jaw was tight. "He's my supervisor," Emma said, confused. "Right, of course. I don't want to lose you." She hugged him. "You won't. I'm yours." She said it so easily, meant it as romance. Didn't realize he'd hear it as ownership. They bought a house in Maple Grove. Quiet suburb, tree-lined streets. Block parties in the summer, Christmas lights in December, the kind of neighborhood where everyone knew everyone. Their house was small, 2 bedrooms, blue shutters, a porch swing Emma had fallen in love with immediately. They moved in 3 weeks after the wedding. Emma's parents helped. Michael's best friend from college, David, drove up with a U-Haul. The neighbors came by to introduce themselves. Janet from next door brought cookies, 70 years old, widow, had lived there for 40 years. "You two are so young," she had said, smiling. "Reminds me of me and Harold." The Pattersons across the street, busy family, 3 kids, always running late, waved from their minivan. Tom and Lisa, 2 doors down, no kids, both lawyers, barely home. Everyone was friendly, normal, safe. Emma loved it, loved the routine. She'd work 3 12-hour shifts at the hospital, then come home to Michael. He'd have dinner ready, they'd talk about their days, watch a show, fall asleep tangled together. On weekends, they'd work on the house, painting, gardening. Michael built a bookshelf. Emma planted flowers. Her parents visited every Sunday for dinner. Her mother would bring ingredients from the restaurant. They'd cook together, laugh. Michael would joke with her father, ask about the business, help clean up. "He's so good to you," Emma's mother said once, watching Michael wash dishes. "You chose well." Emma had felt proud, grateful. At work, Emma thrived. The other nurses loved her. She was patient with scared kids, calm in emergencies. The doctors requested her for difficult cases. Dr. Patel told her, "You have a gift. You make people feel safe." Michael taught at Lincoln High, 11th grade math, calculus, and statistics. His classroom was always full during lunch, kids coming for extra help or just to hang out. He started an after-school tutoring program for struggling students, volunteered for the math team, chaperoned dances. The principal called him one of our best From the outside, their life was perfect. Everyone said so. But perfection is exhausting. It takes maintenance, constant vigilance. One slip, one crack, and people start asking questions. And Michael was very, very careful not to slip, at least not in public. Here's what their world was built on: appearances, performance, the idea that if you look happy, you must be happy. Emma's parents had taught her, don't complain, don't burden others, smile, work hard, keep private things private. Michael had learned, control the narrative, be the hero, never let anyone see you sweat. Together, they created a fortress, beautiful on the outside, and neither of them realized how the walls were slowly closing in until there was no air left.
Year 2 of marriage. Small cracks starting to show. It started with Emma's phone. She left it on the counter one morning, rushing to get to work. When she came home, Michael was holding it. "You got a text?" he said. Casual. Too casual. From someone named Jake. Emma blinked. "Jake? Oh, Jake from pharmacy. We coordinate medications. He said, 'Great seeing you today. Let's grab lunch next week.'" Michael's voice was still calm, but his knuckles were white around the phone. "Yeah, we ran into each other in the cafeteria. He's married, Michael. It's just—" "I know." Michael set the phone down, smiled. "I know. I'm sorry. I'm being ridiculous." He kissed her forehead. "I just love you so much. The thought of losing you makes me crazy." Emma laughed, relieved. "You're not losing me. You're stuck with me forever." But she noticed. He'd gone through her phone, read her texts. She didn't say anything, didn't want to start a fight. A month later, Emma made plans with her friend Rachel. Girls' night, dinner, and a movie. Michael got quiet when she told him about it. "I thought we were going to start painting the bedroom this weekend," he said. "We can do it Sunday," Emma offered. "Sure. Yeah, of course." But his jaw was tight. He turned away, started loading the dishwasher with sharp, angry movements. Emma felt a twist in her stomach. Guilt. Anxiety. "I can cancel," she said quietly. Michael turned, surprised. "What? No, don't be silly. Go have fun." But his eyes said something different. Emma went, but she texted him 3 times during dinner, came home an hour early. He was already asleep. Or pretending to be. The thing about control is, it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with a memo saying, "I'm taking over your life now." It comes as concern, as love, as "I just worry about you," as "I miss you when you're not here." It comes dressed as devotion. And Emma, who'd been raised to see sacrifice as proof of love, didn't recognize it as danger. Year 3. Emma got a promotion, shift supervisor. More money, more responsibility. She was thrilled, called Michael from work. "Babe, you won't believe it." He said, "That's amazing." But his voice was flat. When she got home, he'd made her favorite dinner, open wine, to celebrate, he said. But halfway through the meal, he went quiet. "What's wrong?" Emma asked. "Nothing." "Michael?" He sighed, set down his fork. "It's just, you're going to be working even more now, right? More hours?" "Probably a little more, but I barely see you as it is." Emma reached for his hand. I know, I'm sorry, but this is good for us, the extra money. I don't care about the money. His voice was sharp now. I care about you, about us, about having a wife who's actually home. The air went cold. That's not fair, Emma said quietly. Michael stood. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm happy for you. Really. He kissed the top of her head. I'm going to take a walk. He left, came back 2 hours later, acted like nothing happened. But Emma lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, feeling like she'd done something wrong, even though she knew she hadn't. The lies started small. I'm going to be late. Staff meeting, Michael texted one evening. Emma was already home, heating up leftovers. No problem. See you soon. He came home at 10 p.m. Smelled like beer. How was the meeting? Emma asked. Long, boring. The principal loves hearing himself talk. Emma nodded. Didn't mention she'd called the school earlier to ask him something, and the secretary said everyone had left at 4:30. Didn't mention she'd noticed he'd changed his phone password. Didn't mention the lipstick stain. Faint, but there, on his collar. Because if she mentioned it, she'd have to deal with it. And dealing with it meant potentially losing him, and losing him was unthinkable. So she swallowed it, pushed it down, told herself she was being paranoid. Besides, Michael was still good to her most of the time. He still brought her coffee in bed, still told her she was beautiful, still held her at night. The good outweighed the bad, didn't it?
Let's step inside Michael's head for a moment. Because monsters aren't born, they're built, piece by piece, wound by wound. Michael loved Emma. He did, in his own broken way. But love, for Michael, was tangled up with fear. Terror, really. The kind that lived in his bones. Because everyone Michael had ever loved had left him. His father, left through death. His mother, left through death. And before that, before the dying, there had been the leaving, the emotional leaving. His mother's attention always on his father's love buried under rage and alcohol. Michael had spent his entire childhood feeling invisible, unimportant, not enough to make anyone stay. So, when Emma came into his life, bright, kind, choosing him, it was everything. She was everything. And that terrified him. Because if she was everything, losing her would be the end. Complete annihilation, the final proof that he was fundamentally unlovable. So Michael's brain did what traumatized brains do. It tried to prevent the loss by any means necessary. At first, it was just hypervigilance, checking her location, reading her texts, making sure she wasn't pulling away. I'm just making sure she's safe, he told himself. That's what love is. But hypervigilance breeds suspicion, and suspicion breeds resentment. Every time Emma stayed late at work, Michael's mind spun stories. She's avoiding me. She doesn't want to be here. She's meeting someone. Never mind that she was a nurse, that hospitals don't run on schedules, that emergencies happen. Michael's fear didn't care about logic. Every time Emma laughed at her phone, texting Rachel, sharing a meme, Michael saw betrayal. What's so funny? Who's making her smile? Why isn't it me? And slowly, the fear turned into something darker. Year 4. Michael started testing her. He'd pick fights out of nowhere just to see if she'd leave. You're always putting work before me. You don't love me like you used to. I think you're cheating on me. Emma would cry, defend herself, reassure him, Michael, I love you, only you. I'm not going anywhere. And for a moment, he'd feel relief. She passed the test. She stayed. But the relief never lasted because fear doesn't have an off switch. He started tracking her mileage, checking her hours against her paycheck, going through her purse while she slept. He told himself it was justified. If she has nothing to hide, it's not a problem. But it was a problem. A massive one, because Michael wasn't looking for evidence of betrayal. He was looking for an excuse to believe the worst, because the worst was familiar, expected, safe in a twisted way. If she betrayed him, it would hurt, but it would make sense. It would confirm what he always knew, that he was unlovable. And even knowing something terrible, was better than the constant uncertainty. Emma, meanwhile, was drowning. She stopped mentioning male coworkers, stopped going out with friends, started turning down extra shifts. She lost weight, had trouble sleeping, developed migraines. Her mother noticed. You look tired, Baobei. Are you okay? I'm fine, Emma lied. Just busy. But she wasn't fine. She was walking on eggshells, constantly calculating. If I say this, will he get upset? If I do that, will he think I'm pulling away? This is what psychological erosion looks like. It's not traumatic. It's not sudden. It's the slow deletion of yourself. One small compromise at a time, until you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back at you. Year 5. Emma's friend Rachel got married. Destination wedding, Hawaii. Michael was the maid of honor. Had been looking forward to it for months. 2 weeks before the trip, Michael said, I don't think you should go. Emma froze. What? I don't feel comfortable with you going without me, all the way to Hawaii for a week. Michael, I'm the maid of honor. I have to go. Why? Because Rachel says so? What about what I say? What about our marriage? They fought. Really fought. Emma crying, Michael yelling, words like knives. Finally, Michael went quiet, looked at her with those wounded eyes. If you go, I don't know if I'll be here when you get back. Emma's blood go cold. You'd leave me over this? I'd protect myself from someone who clearly doesn't prioritize me. Emma stared at him, at the man she'd married, tried to find him behind the stranger's face. She called Rachel the next morning. I'm so sorry, I can't come. Family emergency. Rachel was hurt, confused, but she accepted it. Emma didn't go, and a part of her, a part she'd die before admitting, hated Michael for that. Hated herself more for giving in. That's when the nightmare started. Emma would dream of drowning, of being buried alive, of screaming and no sound coming out. She'd wake up gasping, Michael's arm heavy across her chest. And she'd lie there in the dark thinking, this isn't normal. This isn't what love is supposed to feel like. But then morning would come, Michael would bring her coffee, kiss her softly. I love you. You know that, right? I'm so sorry. I'm so difficult sometimes. You just mean everything to me. And she'd melt. Think, he just loves me so much. It's intense, but it's not bad, right? Wrong.
Year 6. Things accelerated. Michael lost a student, not literally. The kid, 17-year-old named Danny, committed suicide. Jumped off a bridge on a Tuesday night. Left a note on his phone. I'm not enough. I'll never be enough. Michael was devastated. Danny had been in his tutoring program. Michael had spent hours with him, thought he was getting better. The school held a memorial. Michael spoke, cried. Parents hugged him, told him it wasn't his fault. But Michael couldn't shake it. He started drinking more. Every night, 2 glasses of whiskey, then 3, then 4. Emma tried to help. Maybe you should talk to someone, a therapist. I don't need a therapist. I need you. He clung to her, needed her home every night, texted her constantly at work. Are you okay? I miss you. When are you coming home? Emma felt suffocated, but also guilty. He was hurting. She should be there for him. Then came the night that changed everything. Emma came home from a late shift, 11 p.m., exhausted, just wanted to shower and sleep. Michael was drunk, sitting in the dark living room. Where were you? He asked. Work. I told you, we had an emergency. A kid came in with... You're lying. Emma's heart stopped. What? Michael stood, swaying slightly. I called the hospital. They said you left at 9:30. I stopped for gas? For 90 minutes? Emma's mind raced. She had stopped for gas, and then she'd sat in her car in the parking lot. Just sat there for an hour, because the thought of coming home had made her chest tight. But she couldn't tell him that. I drove around a bit, needed to clear my head. Needed to clear your head, Michael laughed, bitter. From what? From me? Michael, you're drunk. Let's talk in the morning. Answer me. His voice exploded, glass shattering. Emma flinched. Michael had never yelled like that. Never. I'm tired of your lies, he continued, quieter now, which was somehow worse. I'm tired of wondering. I'm tired of feeling crazy. You're not crazy. Then prove it. Give me your phone. No. The word came out before Emma could stop it. Firm. Final. Michael's eyes went dark. What do you have on there that you don't want me to see? Nothing. But it's mine. My privacy. Privacy? Michael stepped closer. We're married. There is no privacy. There's no mine. There's only ours. Emma backed toward the door. Instinct. Fear. And Michael saw it. Saw her fear. For a moment, just a flash, he looked horrified. At himself. At what he'd become. Then the mask came back. Smooth. Calm. I'm sorry, he said, voice soft again. You're right. I'm drunk. I'm being stupid. He sat down, put his head in his hands. I just love you so much, it scares me. Emma stood frozen, heart hammering, half wanting to comfort him, half wanting to run. She didn't do either. She went upstairs, locked the bedroom door, lay in bed, listening to Michael cry in the living room. The next morning, flowers on the kitchen counter. 24 red roses. And a note. I'm sorry. I don't deserve you. I'll do better. I promise. Forever yours, M. Emma stared at them. Forever yours. Why did those words suddenly sound like a threat? She almost left him that day. Almost. Packed a bag in her mind, rehearsed the conversation. I can't do this anymore. I love you, but I can't breathe. But then she thought about her parents, about what they'd say. Marriage is work. You don't give up. She thought about their house, their life. 7 years. She thought about being alone again, starting over, admitting failure. And she unpacked the imaginary bag. Decided to stay. Decided to try harder. That was her mistake. 3 months later, Emma came home to find Michael sitting at the kitchen table, laptop open in front of him, Her laptop. The one she kept in her nightstand. The one she'd password protected. "We need to talk," he said, not looking at her, eyes fixed on the screen. Emma's stomach dropped. "Michael, what are you—" "Who," he interrupted, voice like ice, "is Dr. Adrian?" And that was the moment everything finally snapped. Dr. Adrian Chen, Emma's cousin, 10 years older, psychiatrist, lived in Seattle. They'd been emailing for months, Emma reaching out, desperate, asking for advice. "I think something's wrong in my marriage. I think I might be going crazy. Michael says I'm overreacting," but Adrian had been gentle, professional. "You're not crazy. What you're describing sounds like emotional abuse." Emma had written back, terrified of the word. "Abuse? No. He loves me. He just has trust issues." Adrian had written, "Emma, love doesn't look like this. Love doesn't make you afraid." But now Michael was reading those emails. Every vulnerable word, every confession, every moment Emma had doubted him. "He's your cousin?" Michael asked quietly. "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me you were talking to him?" "Because you'd react exactly like this," Emma thought. "I needed someone to talk to," she said instead. "You have me. You're the problem, Michael." The words hung in the air. True. Devastating. Michael closed the laptop, stood. "So that's what you really think? That I'm the problem? You went through my computer? You read my private emails? How is that okay?" "How is lying to me okay?" His voice was rising. "How is going behind my back, bad-mouthing me to your family, plotting to leave me? I'm not plotting." "I think I need to leave him," Michael quoted. "I don't know who he is anymore." Ring a bell? Emma's face got hot. Yes, she'd written that, in a moment of fear and clarity. But she'd also written, "But I love him. I don't want to give up." Michael didn't mention that part. "I want a divorce," Michael said. Emma's world tilted. "What? You don't trust me? You think I'm abusive? You want out. So let's make it easy. Divorce." "Michael, wait." "Unless," he paused, looked at her with eyes she didn't recognize, "unless you prove you're committed, that you're not going anywhere, that you're mine." "How?" Emma whispered. Michael pulled a paper from his pocket. "Sign this." Emma took it, her hands shaking. It was a contract, typed, official-looking. "Postnuptial agreement," Michael explained. "You sign over power of attorney. I handle all finances. I make medical decisions if needed. You agree to share all passwords, all accounts, complete transparency." Emma stared at him. This is insane. This is trust." His voice was calm now, reasonable. "If you have nothing to hide, it's not a problem." "Michael, this gives you control of everything. My money, my accounts. Our money, our accounts. We're married. What about my control? You can have access to mine too. See? Equal." But it wasn't equal. Emma could feel it. This was a trap, a cage disguised as compromise. "I need time to think," she said. "There is no time. Sign it now or I file for divorce tomorrow." Emma looked at the paper, at Michael, at the man she'd promised forever to. And she realized she was trapped. If she refused, he'd divorce her, paint her the villain, tell everyone she'd cheated, lied, betrayed him. If she signed, she was giving him everything, every piece of herself. She couldn't win. She signed. Michael watched, smiled. "Good. See, that wasn't so hard." He kissed her forehead. "I'm going to bed. We'll talk more tomorrow." He left her standing there, holding the signed contract, feeling like she just sold her soul. The next day, Emma went to work in a fog, went through the motions, smiled at patients, gave medications, pretended to be fine.
but inside she was screaming. During her lunch break, she locked herself in a bathroom stall and called Adrian. "I need help," she whispered. "I can't do this anymore." "What happened?" Emma told him everything. The contract, the ultimatum, the fear. Adrian was silent for a long moment. Then, "Emma, you need to leave. Tonight. Don't wait." "I can't just—" "Yes, you can. Pack a bag, go to your parents. We'll figure out the legal stuff later. But you need to get out now." Emma closed her eyes. Okay. Tonight. But when her shift ended, when she got in her car to drive home, her phone buzzed. A text from Michael. "Surprise! Come to the house. I have something special planned." Her hands went cold. She drove home slowly, every instinct screaming at her to turn around, to drive to her parents' house instead, to run. But a bigger part of her, the part that had been trained to please, to avoid conflict, to not make things worse, drove her home. When she pulled into the driveway, the house was dark, except for candlelight flickering in the windows. Emma's stomach twisted. She walked inside. "Michael?" "In here." The kitchen. Emma walked in and froze. The table was set, candles everywhere. Dinner, her favorite homemade lasagna, steaming on plates. And Michael, standing there, in his good shirt, smiling, that smile. "Surprise," he said softly. "I wanted to apologize. For yesterday. For everything." Emma stood in the doorway, torn between relief and terror. "I've been horrible to you. I know that, and I want to make it right. Starting tonight." He pulled out her chair. Gentleman. Prince Charming. Emma sat, numb. They ate in silence. Michael kept trying to make conversation. "How was work? Did you see Janet's new garden gnomes?" Small talk. Normal talk. But nothing was normal. After dinner, Michael pulled out a small box. "I got you something." Emma opened it. A necklace. Beautiful. A heart-shaped locket. "Open it," Michael urged. Inside, a photo of them on their wedding day. Happy. In love. Innocent. "Forever," Michael whispered. "That's what we promised. Forever." Emma felt tears coming, but she didn't know if they were sad tears or scared tears, or both. "There's one more thing," Michael said. He reached under the table and pulled out a gun. Emma stopped breathing. "Relax," Michael said, laughing lightly. "I'm not going to hurt you. I bought this for home protection. With everything going on, I thought we should have it." He set it on the table, between us. "Have you ever shot a gun?" Emma shook her head, couldn't speak. "Here, let me show you." And that's how we got here, to the moment we started with. Emma holding a gun, Michael smiling, sirens in the distance. Because what Emma didn't know, what she wouldn't find out until later, was that Michael had called the police himself, told them his wife was having a breakdown, that she'd threatened him with a weapon, that he feared for his life. The trap was complete.
The police arrived, burst through the door, guns drawn. "Drop the weapon." Emma dropped the gun, hands up, crying. "I didn't. He gave it to me." They handcuffed her, read her rights. Michael stood in the corner, playing the terrified husband perfectly. "She's been unstable," he told the officers. "I tried to get her help, but she refused. Tonight, she just snapped." Emma screamed, "He's lying! He planned this!" But who do the police believe? The calm, composed high school teacher, or the hysterical woman who was found holding a gun? Emma spent the night in jail. Worst night of her life. Cold, alone, terrified. Her parents came in the morning, posted bail, took her home. To their home. "What happened?" her mother kept asking. "What happened to you too?" Emma didn't know where to start. But then Adrian arrived. He'd driven from Seattle the moment he'd heard. And he brought something. A folder. Thick.
I did some digging, he said, after our call yesterday. Something felt off about Michael, so I made some calls, talked to people from his past. He opened the folder. Inside, police reports, hospital records, restraining orders. Michael's been married before, Adrian said quietly. Emma's world stopped. What? Twice before you. Both marriages ended very badly. The first wife, Angela, married when Michael was 23, divorced 2 years later. She'd filed a restraining order, claimed Michael had isolated her, controlled her, terrorized her. But the case was dismissed. Lack of evidence. He said, she said. The second wife, Nicole, married when Michael was 28. That marriage lasted 3 years. Ended when Nicole tried to leave. Michael had shown up at her work, at her parents' house, sent hundreds of texts, emails, letters. She filed for a restraining order too. That one stuck. But by then, Michael had moved to Portland, changed jobs, started fresh. No one knew his history. He was careful, charming, the new teacher everyone loved. Until he met Emma. He did this before, Emma whispered. All of it. The love bombing, the isolation, the control? Yes, Adrian said. And it escalates. Angela said toward the end he'd started threatening suicide if she left. Nicole said he'd planted evidence to make her look unstable, hid her medications, called her crazy. Emma felt sick. Why didn't anyone warn me? They didn't know. He's smart. He changes cities, changes churches, changes social circles. By the time one group figures him out, he's already embedded in another. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was in the final document, a life insurance policy. On Emma. $500,000, taken out 6 months ago. Michael was the sole beneficiary. And the handwritten notes, in Michael's handwriting, accidental death pays double, suicide voids policy. Emma's hands shook, holding the paper. He was going to kill me. Adrian nodded. Or make it look like you killed yourself. The police call, the gun, your unstable behavior. He was building a narrative. The contract, the post-nuptial agreement, that gave him control of everything if I died. Exactly. Emma looked at her parents, at their horrified faces, at 7 years of lies crashing down. I almost didn't make it out, she whispered. The legal battle took 2 years. 2 long, painful years. Michael denied everything, painted Emma as the abuser, showed the court the signed contract. She agreed willingly. The emails to Adrian. She was planning to leave and take everything. He played the victim so well, cried on the stand, talked about how much he'd loved her, how betrayed he felt. But Adrian had done his work, found Angela, found Nicole. Both agreed to testify. The pattern emerged. 3 women. Same story, same tactics, same escalation. The judge listened, saw through the mask. The gun charges against Emma were dropped. The postnuptial agreement was invalidated, signed under duress. The restraining order was granted. Michael lost his job. The school district, once they learned about his history, let him go quietly. No scandal, just a resignation. He moved again, to another city, another fresh start. Emma heard through the grapevine that he joined a dating app within 3 months, looking for wife number 4. Emma moved back in with her parents for a while. Couldn't be alone. Couldn't sleep without nightmares. She quit her job at St. Mary's. Too many memories. Started over at a clinic across town. Went to therapy. Twice a week at first, then once a week, then every other week. Slowly, so slowly, she started to feel like herself again.
or like a new version of herself. Stronger, wiser, sadder, but safer. Her friends rallied. Rachel, who she'd pushed away for the wedding, came back. I knew something was wrong. I should have pushed harder. It's not your fault, Emma told her. He was good at hiding it. Her parents struggled, her father especially. I should have seen it, should have protected you. You couldn't have known, Dad. But the guilt ate at all of them, the what-ifs and I should-haves. Janet, the neighbor, came to visit Emma at her parents' house, brought cookies, cried. I saw things, she admitted, heard things, yelling, you crying. But I told myself it wasn't my business, that all couples fight. Emma held her hand. It's okay. It's not okay. I should have knocked on your door, asked if you were all right. And that was the hardest part, realizing how many people had seen pieces of the truth but stayed silent, not out of malice, but out of discomfort, not wanting to intrude, not wanting to believe. 2 years after the divorce was finalized, Emma got a message on Facebook from a woman named Sarah. 29 years old, profile picture showed her smiling at the beach. I hope this isn't weird, but I'm dating a man named Michael Torres. I found your name in some old documents at his place and looked you up. Did you know him? Can you tell me what he's like? Emma's blood ran cold. She stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed, Can we talk? In person? They met at a coffee shop, the same one where Emma had first met Michael, coincidentally. Sarah sat across from her, bright-eyed, happy, in love. Emma told her everything. Every red flag, every manipulation, every lie. Sarah's face changed as she listened, from defensive to confused to horrified. I thought I was crazy. He weeds my texts, gets upset when I go out with friends, but he says it's because he loves me so much. That's what he told me, too. Sarah left Michael that day, blocked his number, filed a police report when he started showing up at her work. She thanked Emma. You saved my life. But Emma didn't feel like a hero. She felt tired, angry that Michael was still out there, still hunting, still wearing that smile.
Last month, Emma got a letter in the mail. No return address, just her name, handwritten. She almost threw it away without opening it, but something made her look. Inside, a single piece of paper, a photocopy of a wedding announcement. Michael Torres weds Jennifer Hayes, June 2025. And underneath, in Michael's handwriting, forever means forever, Emma. Some lessons we learn, some we teach. Emma's hands shook. He was letting her know he'd found someone else, and he was doing it all again. She tried to find Jennifer online, couldn't find her. Either the name was fake, or Jennifer had no social media presence. Emma reported it to her lawyer, to the police, but there was nothing they could do. He hadn't threatened her, hadn't violated the restraining order, just sent a letter. A reminder that he was still out there, that the monster was still wearing someone's husband's face, and somewhere another woman was falling in love with him, believing his promises, not seeing the knife hidden behind his smile. Emma keeps the letter in a drawer next to the court documents and the restraining order. A reminder to herself, trust your instincts, watch for the signs, and never ever ignore the red flags, because the neighbor's smile can hide a knife in the dark, and sometimes
The most dangerous person in your life is the one you promised forever to.
Some stories don't have happy endings. They have surviving endings. Emma survived. Angela survived. Nicole survived. Sarah survived. But somewhere tonight, someone is ignoring their gut feeling, explaining away a red flag, believing a promise that should sound like a warning. If this story felt familiar, if you saw yourself in these moments, please listen to what your body is telling you. That twist in your stomach, that's not paranoia, that's knowing. The darkness holds many secrets. Some we're meant to uncover. Some we carry as scars. Some we share to light the way for others. There are more stories like this, stories that need telling, wounds that need witnessing, and we'll walk through them together, one whispered truth at a time. Stay safe out there. Trust yourself. And remember, forever should feel like freedom, not a cage.